As you know, I do these videos on YouTube, particularly to help us get through whatever unfolds before us. I'm looking at an article in the Telegraph written by, who's written it now? Tom Harris. He's usually pretty good. He points a few things out that I think we should be aware of. Not least of all the difficulties that these MPs now face. Now they are part of the government rather than just being in the opposition. The opposition is just a stone throwing exercise from the backbenches. They haven't really got any power unless a vote comes along. Now, it just so happens that quite an important day on the 16th of September, there's an opportunity for everybody to push back, and you need to learn how valuable this is, because whilst all this talk's been going on about the winter fuel allowance for pensioners, remember Parliament's been closed, it's been in recess. They're back to work shortly, and on the 16th of September, this is getting discussed. So what I've done, I've written a letter to my new Labour MP, and I've got about another 45 people to do the same. And there are other people who will be on the internet doing it. The reason to strike now is this. People have put so much effort into going to rallies and demonstrations, and whichever way you dress it up, I'm sorry, they either go tits up and, you know, it's presented in the wrong way. It's not covered by the media, and even if it goes off well, nobody's taking any notice except the ones that went. You have a feel-good factor, a bit of camaraderie, and then it's dead. It's like going to the fairground for the day. But that's only my opinion. Nothing gets done after a rally. Nothing changes. The thing about the email thing was, I know I get ridiculed for it, but if there was enough volume, they'd all listen. And the reason for that is all you need is a volume of emails that's greater or close to the majority. And then MPs will listen. And the reason I say that is because all they're bothered about is getting the seat. Now, you have a lot of new MPs in there now, what we'll call new Red Labour. They're young, energetic, enthusiastic. They want to be there for the long haul. They've only just got in. They're never going to be more popular than they are today. Because today, they've just got in. The voters are behind them. This is why you need to understand this. It's why all is not lost. The voters are going to diminish, because even the ones that voted for Starmer, you've got to remember that's made up of a nucleus of people who were fed up with the Tories and wanted to teach them a lesson. It's made up of people who didn't vote at all, so they're absent from the vote, in which case it gives you a better chance of being elected even with a low turnout, which is just what's happened. And then the staunch Labour supporters, and an element of them are hardcore socialists, but not all of them. Many of them actually believe the old adage that the Labour Party is for the working man. The Labour Party isn't for the working man, because the Labour Party believes in the EU, and the EU flooded us with people that kept British wages down for years. A lot of people say that the EU gave us workers' rights. No, they didn't. We got our own workers' rights, a lot of which the EU jockeyed on the back of, and then created such an environment that was so hostile for an employer that everybody started using agencies. People are employed through agencies. People are employed on 0 hours contract. There's always a way around a system that cannot be managed for a small business or even a medium-sized business. Even the Labour Party use 0 hours contracts. So no, the EU haven't done anything for workers' rights. Labour Party hasn't done anything for workers' rights. They've just bunged their own staff, civil servants and doctors, a healthy pay rise, while other people have to scrat around trying to make ends meet during one of the most expensive periods in our history. But all is not lost, because this is the time in history when the Labour Party are at their fattest. They've just got in, and he hasn't been in 60 days yet, and his support is going down all the time. People are ringing in. Carol Vorderman was left speechless on LBC, a lefty-leaning broadcaster, you know, a radio station. Carol Vorderman's now a presenter. She's bashed the Tories for God knows how long. She blocked me, actually. And she's taken a call from a woman who's voted for Labour and is disappointed already. She's got no answers for her. No matter how many vowels and consonants she used, Carol couldn't answer her because what Labour are doing is wrong and it's hitting the working class. So this is the time in history when they're at their most powerful, and it's diminishing by the day. So this is why we have to pick up now and see how we can utilise that for our own ends. Many of you will remember back in the late 70s and 80s, the Labour Party were mocked at their own conference for abandoning the working class. It's going to happen again. They can't continue like this because what Starmer is offering is not what Labour voters, proper Labour voters, want. It's what the Champagne Socialists want. It's what the Marxists want. It's what the communist thinkers want. But they're not the bulk of the party. They're certainly not the grassroots. So the more damage he does, the weaker he becomes. His success will be his downfall. It happens to a lot of businesses, and it's happening to him. The left-wing rags like the HuffPost may very well turn around and say he's done a really quick job sorting out the rioters, but what people really want, well, hang on a minute, if you can do that for rioters, why can't you do it for every criminal? Why have we got paedophiles walking around the street? Why have we got judges who are sentencing people to go on remand without bail for being part of a civil disorder or tweeting or Facebook posts, going straight to jail with no bail opportunity, and yet letting paedophiles walk free? That goes against the grain with everyone. Nobody wants to think anyone's trashing a public library. I don't think violence works. I don't think protests, even when they go well, work. So you're not going to convince me any different. But when you know a mother has gone to jail, a young mum with a child who's got no criminal behaviour in her past, is now sitting on remand alongside hard-nosed criminals, waiting for 6 weeks to get a trial date without bail. You normally deny bail because they're a flight risk or they're a danger to society. She already took down the wording that she used from the tweet, which shows a remorse. It shows that, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. I mean, you show me someone who's never said anything that they regret saying, and I'll show you a liar. Because everybody says something at some time that they regret saying. So all this is on the back of the fact that he's hitting the pensioners with the winter fuel allowance. He's going to hit the descendants next year, year 2025, when he takes a cap off the social care allowance, which means the government's facility to take money from you, from your estate, from your house that you would normally leave to your kids and grandkids. It's capped at 85 grand currently. So if you've got a house worth 200, you've a bit left to share to your relatives. But they're taking the cap off. So that's only going to encourage higher prices from the care homes. Because let's face it, if they're in and we're paying for the care because they're on social benefit, then the government don't care. They'll just pay it because it's coming from taxes. They don't have any money. It comes off us anyway. And so the descendants are hit. And there's even more cutbacks planned for pensioners. Now, unfortunately, a lot of those pensioners will have voted for him because they'll be old-fashioned enough. They won't be on social media and they'll have thought they're voting for the Labour Party and they've had enough of Tories. And believe me, I get messages from people, relatives of older people, who are saying, my nan voted, my mother voted for Labour. She thought it would get better. She's absolutely gobsmacked. She's having the winter fuel allowance taken away. She's got £6,250 savings. People are now shuffling money about so that they don't look like they've got the savings to still qualify for the winter fuel allowance. I mean, this is just encouraging bad behaviour. And when you think they've sent 11 billion to Africa because it's hot, that's basically it, isn't it? They're supposed to be controlling the weather. Oh, you know, they need more money to get greener. In Africa, I mean, it just beggars belief. We're paying for roads being resurfaced in Malaysia. Have you driven down some of your main roads? This party is an absolute joke. But I'll keep reminding you, they're at the strongest right now. They'll never be any stronger because they're going to upset the people that put them there. Now, all we've got to do is remember, anybody who's telling you to spoil your ballot paper and don't vote is a fool. Because the thing is, what we have now is an ideal opportunity when we get it. And this is the other thing. You should all be preparing now for the next election. Get ready. Get ready to use that vote. People say, oh, your vote's a waste of time. To a point. To a point. But they still have to have the mirage of voting making a difference. But the thing is, if you turn out in enough numbers and you vote them out, because we've got a choice now, we've got reform just budding into existence. They're not perfect. I don't believe in party politics, but until we come up with another system like direct democracy, we have to work with the soldiers who are turning up for the battle. It's no good being picky about the soldiers when not everybody's turning up. We know we can't trust the Tories because they're too embedded with woke liberalism. So we can't trust them. We can only trust a few of them. So add the few of them to the Reform Party growing. That's why they're under attack all the time. That's why they're calling these riots the Farage riots. They're trying to make Nigel Farage and Reform look like an outcast party already. They have to stamp it out because this is the one that the people are going behind. 97 constituencies where they came second and they've only been established a few weeks. Come on, that's some going, and it's growing. I've been looking at some statistics from Scotland. People in Scotland are gravitating towards reform. Even if it's a basket case, even if it's set up with Nigel Farage as the main shareholder, it doesn't matter to you, the voter. It doesn't matter if it's not set up democratically. I know Ben Habib thinks it does. It does long term, but not right now. As I say, we can't be picky about the soldiers. We've got to use the ones that are turning up for the fight. And that's who they are. These five, Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, a few others, I can't remember the names, and a Labour Party that is going down. And unfortunately, it needs to even get worse, because the only way you'll wake up the sleepers, won't be because they're going to listen to me. It's because they're going to see what's happening in their own lives and not like it. Now, us on here, we already know it's dismal. We already know it's worse than the Tories, but the Tories weren't any good. We're prepared. We know it. And what you've got to be careful of as well, a lot of people do what I do, is clickbait. It's an income. You know, if you have 150,000 followers and you're getting 200,000 and 300,000 views, you're on 80 to 100 grand a year doing this. I've only monetised my channel to stop that sodding copycat. I can walk away from doing this and it won't affect my income. I earn my money, my proper money that pays my bills somewhere else. I earn it from the money I've built up through my lifetime and the investments that I've got. And there's some really bad financial advice out there at the moment, and I don't give it. I don't profess to know how you should run your life financially. Just while we're on the subject, somebody set a Telegram channel up. I'm not even on Telegram. In my name, trying to punt out, I don't know what it looks like. They call it mining. It must be something to do with Bitcoin. I'd never do that. Never in a month of something. I haven't even got 1 penny invested in Bitcoin. Don't tell me I'm mad or stupid. I don't want to know. I invest in myself. I invest in what I can see. If I can't see it and I can't touch it, I won't be buying it. It's as simple as that. So, and I certainly won't be investing in anything if you go through a third party to get hold of. No, sorry, that's madness. Even if it's gold, I think that's madness. If you've got it stored somewhere and you've got to go through a third party to access it, and Armageddon hits, you think they're going to be there? Good luck with that one. Anyway, back to the job on hand. Oh, I've got a call coming in. It might be Dan Wotton. So getting back to the Labour Party and why all is not lost. I'm going to read you a clip, a section, paragraph, from an article in the Telegraph. It's basically about what I was on about earlier, which is how the Labour Party basically bugger it up. Things came to a head in the 70s and early 80s when Labour Prime Minister and Chancellors were mocked, I said this earlier, didn't I, and abused at their own conference as class traitors. The general distrust, that suspicion that the leadership will once in office inevitably betray the working class, is a fundamental part of the culture of that party. Think about that. The suspicion that the leadership will once in office inevitably betray the working class is a fundamental part of that party's culture. That's quite important, that, because it's basically what I've been saying. So I'm really glad I found this article, because obviously when you see it in the Telegraph and it's your own thought process and you see someone else writing about it, you think, oh wow, I'm onto something here. Here's this next bit. This is quite poignant. And so activists are forced to take sides for or against the government they've just helped to elect. This is, in turn, leads to institutionalised fibbing. It is rarely discussed or admitted publicly, but those seeking nomination for Parliament can be expected to sound far more left-wing in a selection meeting than they will be in a couple of years' time as an MP, especially if they're ambitious and want to serve on the party's front bench. So basically, a lot of these new MPs will sound very hardcore socialist because they want to be chosen as the nominee and they want to win the seat. But then, once they've got that power base, then they start to have their own thought process. And a big part of that thought process is knowing how flaming popular they are with the constituents that's just voted them in. So if you've got a constituency where 6,000 pensioners and their relatives are sending emails saying this isn't on, and on the 16th of September there's a window of opportunity to debate the winter fuel allowance. That's what the Tories are going to do. They're debating it on the 16th of September. If we write to these people en masse, plenty of volume, get your neighbours to do it, get your friends to do it, and email them saying, well, we're not happy with this. This wasn't in your manifesto. You've mocked the Tory party for even suggesting it, and now you're implementing it. That MP is going to sit there. He's got Keir Starmer on the one hand, he's got constituents on the other hand. Who's he going to please? Who's she going to please? Is she going to listen to her constituents? Because Keir Starmer isn't going to get her back in, is he? They've had enough of him already. So he's not going to help her get back in. Him, her, whatever, it. What's going to happen with this is they're going to start listening to the constituents, and that's where your voice comes in. That's where it's important to be proactive. People died in trenches. People died being blown up in tanks. People died overseas. People died landing on beaches. People were injured, had their legs lost their sight. They came home with life-changing injuries to fight for what we can't be bothered to address, which is our freedom. We have at least the common decency to realise that people ridiculing me for wanting to email MPs, they're the ones that should be ridiculed, because that is truly the power base. Because all that email is a big pile of evidence, one after another, and his SPAD or his aide will read them. Not read them all, you don't make it War and Peace, a couple of paragraphs will do. That SPAD or aide will read them first. And what goes to the top of the pile to be addressed is the thing with the most clout, the one that's been addressed by the constituents the most, the ones that the constituents have complained about. So if we get a shed load of emails sent to that MP about the winter fuel hours and about the debate on the day, they're going to look at that and think, oh God, no, what am I going to do? So this is how it works. And this is why a lot of people have this misconception that we have no power. We have a lot of power. We haven't got the wherefore to use it, because not enough people are upset about it yet. But they're going to be upset about it. I'll remind you again, they're at the strongest now. And it's changing every day. So now is the time. This is the first instance we've got the winter fuel. This is the first thing we can slap him back with. It's not going to cause, you can write about this, you can tweet about it, you can blog it on Facebook. It's not going to cause the authorities to come down, causing hatred, and it's not got any repercussions there. This is something you can push back with. Because if you push back with this, it shows the lie of the land. It shows that people aren't taking it lying down. I've already sent my email, and I'll be sending that email twice a day, every day now, until they come back to work. And then I'll be making an appointment to see my new Labour MP in the surgery. Because I'm not letting this go. Because I've got a big following and I've got thousands of pensioners that do not want this to happen. So we do have power if we're prepared to use it. And that's a good thing about this. It's not good sitting there, oh, we're doomed, Labour's it. No, we're not doomed. We've been here before. Anybody who remembers the bin strikes and the bread strikes and the stuff that our parents complained about at the time, they survived it. They got through it. And we can get through this, and we can prove to be a strong force because enough people are talking about it. People you'd never think were talking about politics. Jeremy Clarkson even understands why people voted for Brexit. All right, you're not going to get through to that thick old Lorraine Kelly who was moaning and groaning about the queues at Spain coming back in from a second home. Well, I'm sorry, Lorraine, you don't seem to understand the European Union. It just sounded like spoilt brat syndrome to me. Oh, I had to wait a bit longer in the queue. It's got nothing to do with us coming out of the EU. It's just how travel is at the moment. And any delays that are experienced are because the EU is trying to pay us back for Brexit. We didn't get Brexit, we got Brino, so she can shut up. I'm sick of seeing these Remainers moaning about it. No doubt Lorraine Kelly's probably what colour lipstick should I wear while I'm moaning and groaning about the EU while I'm queuing up for my passport to be looked at? Should I wear shocking pink or off blue? Sorry, she does me head in. You know, this is a woman who spends her mornings talking about whether or not you can look fat in a dress. Who cares? People can't afford to put food in their mouth, love. Anyway, I'm going off the boil here. What I'm trying to say is keep an eye on things. I keep an eye on things. And the thing that gives me hope is this article's The Telegraph. It's come out with some stuff that I'm thinking anyway. Now, if I'm thinking it, other people are thinking it. This is a consensus now. This is a shift since the election. Before the election, the big problem was, oh, Rishi Sunak, get rid of the Tories. Tories out. I saw that. In fact, there's some Twitter accounts say Tories out, right? Tories out. There's one of them, he's foul. He's always trolling me on my page. And it's Tories out. He's took it down, that, off his bio now, Tories out. And I thought, oh, why hadn't he got that? And I checked a screenshot I had. Yeah, sure enough, he's took it down. Yeah, why has he took it down? Because he's now in the middle of slagging off the Labour Party because of what they've done with the winter fuel allowance, because he's obviously a pensioner that needs it, but isn't quite poor enough to still get it. The one thing about the Labour Party, they're always working for the poor to keep them poor and let us join in with them. Well, it's not going to happen because people aren't going to put up with it, and Labour will tank support. Now, in the meantime, Reform are growing. There's some decent Tories left there, and what we've got to do is make sure that they grow enough to be effectual by the next election. It's all right saying he's going to do a lot of damage between now and then. The damage needs to be done to wake people up. People won't wake up till it affects them. So every time something comes out that's not very good, just remember that that is then shocking. We can sit here thinking, told you, we told you this would happen. And there'll be a group of people sat there thinking, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened. There are more people in the fight then. There are more people that'll come to the front and start talking about it. People are talking to me about politics that never ever discuss politics, via Facebook. So this is why I don't lose hope, because this is why I fight every day. I do it every single day. And I don't do this because I want anything from you. I do this because if we don't fight together, we all go down. All of us, me included. So I don't want to do that to myself. I love my life and my little dogs, and I want to continue like that. And the thing is to concentrate on the battles that you've got some chance of winning. The winter fuel allowance is a small battle we have a chance of winning. We have a chance of stopping. And all these little battles weaken the foe. And that's what it's about. It's no good looking at loads of stuff on the internet. Oh, the World Economic Forum is a weft puppet, is a this, is a that. He isn't going anywhere if the people don't support him, because he can't, because he's only got a limited time to do things. And whatever he does, it's a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper. It can be ripped up by the next people that come in. It's not forever. It's not forever. And you need to understand that. And that's what spurs me on to fight, because it's not forever. We're not stuck with Starmer forever. It won't happen like that, because more people get fed up of it all. But we're just on the front line, that's all. We just know about it. So we'll handle it better because we're prepared. And we know how to switch off from it, live our lives, get the best from it, 5 a day. We know how to do that. And we need to show the people how to do it. We need to be there to commiserate with the ones. Don't hate them because they voted for the Labour Party. People come to the table on any topic with different levels of intelligence, different criteria to fill. So I don't hate them. I just want them to wake up. Because just like Labour lost all those red wall seats to the Tories because of the fear of Jeremy Corbyn, actually he'd have been better than this lot, at least he didn't want war, then it's going to happen to the Labour Party. Starmer's a nobody. He's a nobody. He's just the nobody we've got lumbered with right now. Get those emails sent to your Labour MPs specifically and back up the Tory MPs that are suggesting this happens on the 16th of September. Win the little battles, concentrate on the stuff you can control, stop looking at the big picture and being overfaced by it all, because it's not going to all happen at once.